Do you mind taking a few deep breaths with me?
Okay.
Okay. I like to close my eyes. You can keep your eyes open more, but I close my eyes. We'll just do like 3 of them.
Okay.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Like, I find that, like, doing that really helps. And, like I said, like, I always say this, like, I love my Apple Watch because it says, like, don't forget to breathe. Because, like, I literally don't be breathing, girl. Like, I be in yoga classes and, like, the yoga instructor will say that, too. Like, okay, breathe now. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's like you're not cognizant of things like that.
That feature is everything.
Yes. So first, like, tell everyone a little bit about you and, like, your journey into education.
So I started off in college as a dance. Oh, don't mind the background. I am a mom. So you probably will hear a crying toddler at some point. But I started off as a dance and choreography major in college. And I started thinking this is not making me happy anymore. And I don't know what to do. So I went home and had to restart. I got a job as an aftercare worker at a school, and I ended up loving it. My first week was crazy. The teacher actually decided, she was like, my back hurts, and she pulls out a heating pad and leaves the room. And that was my first week on the job. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do with all these kids. What do I do? I pull out a book, I start reading, and fell in love with the job and decided to change my major to elementary education.
Okay. So again, like, of course, the series called Educate and Chill, like, you know, a play on like Netflix and chill, but like, you know, as educators, but then like chilling, taking care of yourself. So like, there's so many different forms of self-care. Like, what does self-care mean to you?
So self-care to me is not just about our wants, but what we need too. So even the simple things like, sure, I would love to sit here and watch TV, but I need to get up and work out. So in the long run, it'll make me feel good. It might not be what I want right now, but understanding that taking care of those needs is are a part of self-care too. So eating the right things, but you still have to give yourself what you want every now and then, but just, you know, in moderation.
Yes, in moderation. Because it's funny, like, I listen to motivational messages, like, you know, you follow my personal page and I do like my whole motivation thing. And the quote of the day show, there's like this book that says like it's like how to be successful without giving up your lattes and all that stuff. Because, you know, like, everyone always says like, well, if you want to be successful, you can't be doing all this. And it's like, well, in moderation, like, if you like lattes, like, don't deprive yourself of lattes. Like,
Right.
So with like implementing self-care, like, do you implement it in your classroom, and like, what does that look like in your classroom?
So in my classroom, back when we were in school, we started off every day with yoga. Every day, my students knew, okay, it's time for yoga. They came in, they did like free centers and free play. And then it's like, okay, guys, I'm setting a timer. In 1 minute, we're going to do yoga. And the kids knew, oh, we're turning off the lights. She's putting on yoga. And sometimes I couldn't do it with them, and other times I could. But literally, my students knew what to expect, and they were into it. They loved it. And then we also had mindful minutes a lot. If I noticed they were really rowdy or it was a lot of crying, we would stop, turn the lights out, and take some deep breaths. I always tell them when they're having a difficult time to smell a flower and blow out a candle. This one I had pre-K, so it's like, smell a flower, blow out a candle. And I actually use it with my son too. They love it. It really helps them calm down and teaches them what to do.
I might have to take that. So far. I like that.
I do it.
Don't forget to breathe. So, like, outside of your profession, like, what do you do to decompress?
So, especially during this quarantine, so I've always thought of myself as like antisocial, to be honest, until quarantine. And then I realized, no, I am meant to be around people because this has got me going crazy. So one thing I started to do was always going outside, even if it's not exactly a long period of time. I don't care if it's pouring down raining. I'm going to take a moment just to step outside and feel fresh air. Yeah. And that has really helped me maintain sanity, because this is like not actually just daily life, seeing my coworkers and my students and being able to just like, oh, where are you at? Like, all right, I'm about to meet you. Yeah. Missing those factors is actually drove me crazy. But like, I started spending so much time outdoors. It's just become like, even when life is normal, that's just going to be a part of my routine. Just to make sure I step outside and just take a deep breath of fresh air. But I've been doing a lot of hiking and walking on trails, and that's me and my son's thing to do together. Even though he's getting too heavy, he's going to have to start walking by himself. But that's been my thing. And coffee and tea will always keep me going.
Yes. That's like, yeah,
Every
like
morning.
I just have to go outside. Like I cannot stay in the house all day. Like even today it started drizzling and I'm like, no, I'm still going outside because I just can't stay in the house all day. Like I might not even have nowhere to go. I just need to be outside. Okay, so like I know like sometimes self-care for me is literally like sitting down watching TV. And I was just talking to my friend, like I hardly ever watch TV, but I noticed like when we are watching TV, we're zoned out of like the world, and in that sense is a form of self-care because you're not really worrying about your problems or the things that are going on. So like are there any TV shows that you're currently watching right now?
So I'm not a big TV watcher, but I have been watching Moesha. Anytime I watch, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna turn on Moesha because it's just some like, it's lighthearted, it's fun. It has me thinking, I was watching this and I didn't even notice this, and that.
Yes.
But it's something fun. I don't have to worry or think too much. I also got into this reality TV show, Love Island on Hulu. I've been watching that, and it's so corny, but it's been my thing. I started watching that with my sisters, and it's something I don't tell people. It's so embarrassing. It's so corny. But
what is it about?
It's like a love and relationship game show, and they have to pair up with their match and see if they can make it to the end with their match, and people have to vote them to say, and it's so cheesy, but I love it.
That's fine. So like with me again, like we talked about like hiking and like going outside. So I like to listen to like a lot of like mindfulness music, like calming music. You know, I like my turn up music too, but I really listen to like a lot of mindfulness music, especially when I'm like walking. Like what type of music do you listen to, and like what type of music do you turn to like calm you?
So I feel like musically I'm all over the place. So I don't like listening to music on walks and everything. I like to just listen to everything outside. But in the morning, this week I was listening to Anderson .Paak every morning. I don't know what it was, but that was this week. Next week it might be Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know. It's just,
for real.
I have really range and I'm all over the place. It's just about, okay, what kind of mood am I in?
Yes.
I'm not somebody who like stays connected to what's brand new out. I'm always late to stuff. But, and I think people kind of feel like I'm a little out there on the outskirts as far as like, I like FK, Twigs, and Tyler, the Creator, and artists like that, Coda, the Friend. So it just depends. To calm down, I listen to SZA. SZA is my girl. That's my spirit animal. She's one of my favorite artists, I'd say. But she's my, I'm in a chill mood, I'm putting on SZA.
Yes. So we talked about TV shows and music. What about reading? Like, is reading a stress reliever for you? And like, what books are you currently reading?
It is a stress reliever for me, but right now, because I'm in grad school, it has been on the back burner to start new books. One book that I will always recommend to people is The Sacred Pampering Principles. It's a book about self-care, and that is the book that triggered me on this self-care journey, I'd say. It's geared toward Black women in particular, and how we put ourselves on the back burner a lot of times, and we take care of other people, and we feel like we're supposed to be strong, and that's not the reality. We are human beings, and we have to take that time to take care of ourselves and do what's best for us and put ourselves first, because if you don't put yourself first, how can you take care of everyone else?
Yes, I always say like you cannot get. It's so cliche, but you cannot get from an empty vessel. And I definitely understand. Like it's funny because when I was in grad school last year, I did not read books for leisure because I'm like I have so much to read. I don't want to read nothing else. I literally just started reading again because I'm like, okay, like literally next week will be a whole year I graduated from grad school, and I just started like getting back into like reading for leisure because I'm like I don't want to read nothing else.
I can't wait to be able to read. I'm trying to make it to the end of September. That's when I'm supposed to be done. But I can't wait to just read for pleasure again.
Yes. That's how it was literally like like a weight off my shoulder. I'm like, oh, I can actually read now.
Right.
So we're gonna cycle back into the classroom. Like for a first year teacher who may be having like difficulty with like balance, like what advice would you give them? With emphasis on self-care?
So put yourself first. Take that time you need. I remember my first year teaching, I stayed in the classroom late at night. I just felt like I had to do it all. I didn't ask for help. Take advantage of the people that are around you, the more experienced teachers in the building. Don't feel ashamed to ask. If you don't know something, ask. It doesn't matter how many years you have in the game. Ask questions. It is okay. It's okay not to know. Maintain that curiosity and that urge to learn. It's okay to go ahead and ask that teacher next door to say, hey, did you plan this lesson? It's perfectly fine. Don't feel ashamed. I'm actually going to a new school, so I feel like it's my first year teaching all over again, especially in this situation. So it's something that I had to remember myself, and it makes me feel like I'm that first year teacher again, and that's okay.
Yes.
We're all always learning something new, so don't feel ashamed.
Yes, there's a quote, I love quotes. So there's a quote that says, like, the moment you stop learning, you stop growing. So there's always an opportunity for you to learn. And so as a mom and an educator, like, what advice would you give to, like, other teacher moms about, like, self-care and balance?
So before this whole virtual learning situation, it was just important to me to work at work. And then when I come home, it's time to be a mom. But this is something I've been struggling with lately. I've still been sending my son to daycare during the day, which because it's a home daycare situation, so I feel comfortable. But I have a lot of guilt because I'm working from home. So I had to learn to be okay with that. Like I'm still working, whether it's at home or at school, I'm still working. So, and also having clear boundaries, like it's time for work and now it's time to be a mom. And that's one thing that I think as teachers, particularly, we struggle with because we're always taking home work. But I had to separate it in order to take care of myself and my family.
Yes, I really, really love that. And yeah, like even when that's why like I'm like an advocate for self-care. Like even before I thought of the series and everything like that, like my first year teaching, I ran myself dry. Like I remember waking up on a Saturday. I didn't even realize it was Saturday. So I was teaching a course in Colorado and I lived in Southwest Denver and I taught in Northwest Denver, so it was 40-minute drive, like no matter what. I woke up like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so late because there's a certain time I gotta leave out because it's across town. I like got dressed, rushed across town, got to my school. It's like 3 cars in the parking lot, including mine. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just early, which is funny because I just said I thought I was late, and then I checked my phone and it said Saturday. Like I don't know what didn't register for me, like getting up, dressed, driving across country, that it was Saturday, and my mom was like, you are losing it. And like ever since then, I'm just like, no, I gotta take care of myself, self-care. Like again, like if I'm not well, I can't take care of my students,
Exactly.
So like those boundaries and balance is like very important to have. So
it is. It definitely is.
And like speaking of like giving advice to like other people, so as like your advice for like teacher moms and like a first year teacher, like do you have a mantra that you repeat to yourself or like affirming things that you say to yourself?
So I honestly have, so on my wall there are tons of affirmations. So I got these little box of affirmations from, it's my brown box is geared toward Black women. And I have a few affirmations, particularly in my workspace. One is I conquer all challenges. The other is I am intelligent and capable. I lack nothing, and I am open to new experiences. So I switch them out depending on what I'm going through, but those are some of the major affirmations that I've been saying to myself right now, especially as we're going into this year. With all this change happening, especially for me starting at a new school with virtual learning, it's so much stuff going on, and this has been keeping me going. Anytime I feel discouraged, I turn around and I look at one, and it's usually just what I need in that moment. It's for some reason I think God just like, look at this one right here. So yes, those have been keeping me going.
I love that. And so, like, of course, like mantras and affirmations are really great for like assurance. Like, additionally, do you have like a self-care kit? So, like your self-care kit, in which I'm developing mine too for the new school year, because again, like, you know, I moved back home to Maryland from Colorado, so I'm still in a new, technically a new state and new school system and everything like that. So like you have to have like that go-to like self-care kit. So it can include like things for like your emotional well-being, physical well-being, journaling. Like, do you have like your go-to things for like self-care?
So those affirmations, I have a box of them. So that's one thing. Then sometimes, to be honest, any night that I'm having a rough night, so I've been on this like journey to really get my diet and working out together. But when I'm having a rough night, I get Cold Stone. And that's just, that's quite frankly, that's my go-to. Some Cold Stones, or I get a glass of wine and I sit by myself outside. So I put my son to bed and I go outside. And that's what I do at the end of the night, so I can truly be alone. And that's what I've been doing anytime it's just been a rough week or had a rough day. Sit outside with Cold Stone or a glass of wine and just take a moment by myself. No phone, no nothing.
Yes, wine. I love wine. What's your favorite kind of wine?
So it depends. I definitely like Malbec. That's probably one of my favorites, but that's usually with a meal. But when I'm not drinking a meal, it's a Chardonnay. I don't like too sweet. Moscatos are really sweet, but I sometimes do that when I'm sharing with other people because that's what everyone likes. But a Chardonnay or Malbec.
I was like, I don't like any of the ones you said. I'm definitely a sweet girl. Like Roscato, Moscato, Cupcake, like any sweet. I'm the girl. I don't like the. Yes,
the Cupcake is good. I've been trying to try different things, so.
I know this. I was like, well, actually, we have to maybe find out. My sister said there's like a winery in like Maryland, like far out Maryland. Because like I wanted to go to a winery in Colorado before I came back home, but it was closed because of COVID. But I guess this winery is outside and they have like social distancing. So my sister said like it's a really nice spot. So I'm going to have to send it to you. So we're going to have to go. Because I love wine. I love wine, girl. And there's, oh my God, there's this sunflower field here that I want to go to. I just looked it up. It's in Ellicott City. Did you hear about that?
Oh, there's a couple actually. I've been looking at. I was gonna take my son. I've been trying to figure out. You know, I love pictures and everything. So
yes.
I've been looking at a couple different ones. My best friend was trying to figure out which one should we go to, and so I'm all in it. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yes. Well, of course, like that's like all the questions mainly I had for you, and at this time this is what I call plug time, and it's normally when like you like plug in like anything that you have going on, if you have like a teacher pay teacher or anything like that.
So I am really big on self-care. I talk about motherhood and teaching, so follow my YouTube channel. It's Learn More J, and by the end of this week also, I don't have a teacher pay teacher account, but I'm starting my own website. I have created a learning book for pre-K students because I know all of them are learning at home. They need to practice writing instead of being on the computer. So I created a book for parents to use. So everyone be on the lookout for that. It'll be launching at the end of this week. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I also have laptop stickers. I love laptop stickers. That's one of my favorite things. I decorated. This is my laptop. It has a bunch of different stuff on it.
Oh, yes. I love
those. Here's one that I made. Here's another. So I'm launching some more of those too this weekend.
You'll have to send them to me so I can post them on the page. But guys, if you want to learn more about Jahlynn, follow her at Life with J Moore. And then what's the other one? You have
so my Teachergram is Learn More J. Yes.
Learn More J. Yes, Learn More J. I'm gonna this video is gonna post on the main page, and then I'll post all that in the caption with like her book suggestions and everything like that too. Where can we find your stuff? Oh, follow her, at Learn More J.
Yeah.
That's my If anyone has any questions for her, you can ask them now too before we get off. But I'll also post her information in the caption.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming on. I love it. And thanks everyone else for tuning in. So every week we do Educate and Chill, which is just an educator self-care series, just candid conversations about self-care and balancing life with education, because like we are people outside of teaching. Like I enjoy my students, I love learning, but you have to take care of yourself. Like an empty lantern provides no light, so tend to yourself. Also, if you want to grab one of these shirts, go ahead and check out our apparel page at Black Educators Apparel. The link is in our bio. But thank you guys. Take care of yourselves today. Do something for yourself today. Have a great night. Bye.